Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
And we are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Mob Psycho, Season 3, Episode 12. I believe this is the last episode. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I think it's the last episode. The episode previous, though, was pretty great.
Yes.
I had a good time watching it. Had some Suzuki, had a lot of Ritsu, a little bit of body improvement.
A little bit of show.
A little bit of show. A lot of bit of show. Because it is a show. But we also had Mob talking to himself.
Yes.
Internally, that was shown to us in form of a white outline version of Mob.
First a squiggle and then a white outline version of Mob with the lovely visual of the piece of Mob's face peeling off and blowing over to the line Mob.
Great. I loved it. We also have Reagan and Serizawa inbound, I believe. But other than that, I'm filled with emotions, much like Mob, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Do you have any thoughts?
My only thought is that we're trying to get Mob to liberate himself in a healthy way from having to keep all of his emotions tied down. And I think that we need to just, for the sake of Mob, feel everything that this next episode will possibly make us feel and feel it at 100%.
Ready?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Before we start the episode, if it's okay with you, could I say something that I wrote down in my phone notes? It's going to take a minute, though.
Totally.
Cool. So I feel like I could make a video about this, like, on its own, but let's be real. Like, this is the show. This is Mob Psycho, and I appreciate the journey that we've been on, and I just wanted to touch on this. I'm not great at putting my feelings and experiences into words, especially when it pertains to things that I'm personally ashamed of and don't want people to know. But I wanted to try to communicate why this story means so much to me. It's no secret that I've thoroughly enjoyed Mob Psycho 100. It's self-evident to the point that Anna's made a compilation video of how often I express love and gratitude towards the show. I never intended to be completely transparent to this point to any one person, let alone the internet. But a couple of episodes ago, I had for the first time on AutoSave said that I have bipolar disorder. This isn't something I would ever consider doing, but there was a reason for it. I believe a lot of people think bipolar disorder is something that's moody, where people with it experience low lows and high highs. And at least in my experience, that's what most people perceive it to be. And while that's most definitely part of it, it's not by any means the worst of it. Paranoia, insomnia, rage, sadness, animosity, rejection, seeing things that aren't real, and thinking things that aren't real. I've lost friends and permanently scarred relationships in my past because of it. Because of something that I can't control. And if I can't control something, then I thought the least I could do was suppress it. I've spent years trying to find a balance between medication, self-improvement, therapy, with the end goal of living a life surrounded by nice people who genuinely care about me, or the real me. And that's what I'm lucky enough to have right now for the most part. I thought that maybe if I learn to suppress this part of myself so nobody else can see it, and work as hard on other things about myself and other aspects about myself, then I'll be strong enough to bear that suppression, and in turn, people will want to be around me, and people will accept me. I didn't want to have to wake up another time to realize that I had lost control and failed to change as I promised myself. That I caused another accident because of my bipolar disorder. But if I'm honest with you, and honest with me, I have not been accepting myself as I am, and the deeper down I push this part of me, the more power it will have when it comes out. I hate myself for having bipolar disorder. But if I cannot accept that it is part of me, and be okay with that regardless, how will I ever believe that anybody else can truly accept me and want to be around me? I'm not great at putting my feelings or experiences into words, but Mob Psycho 100 has helped my feelings and experience turn into something tangible, something that I can look at, something that's real and deserves to be acknowledged, something that can maybe one day be accepted, and that above all else, my life is my own. So get ready, Psych yourself up, Mob. I don't know how Blind Wave does it. That hurt. Let's go. Oh, looks so good. Whew.
This form is exactly what Tsubomi needs to see. So he stopped using them because of Tsubomi first.
He's so close.
The last bit of him disappeared when Reagan saw the real him.
Protecting his head still. Oh! This is all the real Reagan, too.
戻ってこれたってことだ。レーゲンの話も聞いてやろうぜ。
ことあったんだ。おかげで間に合った。
おい、ユウ様だって存在維持するだけでギリギリなんだ。
そうみたいだな。
Cool shot.
エクボ、これ悪いが席を外してくれないか。
お前一人でどうするっつんだよ。すんじゃねえぞ。
もう俺にはな、霊能力も超能力も何の力もないんだ。持ってないんだよ。嘘。最初から嘘だったんだ。失礼。しょうがない。俺はよく嘘をつく。客にも初めてお前が事務所に来た日、俺は嘘をついた。相談に乗った。お前は俺を噛んだ。あの日から今日までずっと利用し続けてきたんだ。本当は何も知らねえんだ。超能力のこと。これが俺の正体だ。今まで支障ずらしてすまなかったな。もう少し言わせてくれ。お前だけが特別なわけじゃないなんて誰にでもある。俺にもだから、それもまた当たり前のことだ。ここだけの話、どの姿が大嫌いなんだが、お前と知り合えたわけだし、今のお前があるんじゃないか。要するにだ、お前はそのままでいい。でも大丈夫だ。大丈夫。ほら、受け入れてやれ。自分を。俺ができるってことを俺は知ってる。
師匠がそう言ってる。入れてくれるっていうのか。君にも僕を受け入れてほしいんだ。そうしてくれたように。本当にあの頃みたいに振られちゃったらどうなる。大丈夫だよ。行こう。
Just one flower.
Just the one. It's perfect. It's so
Remember when it came
perfect.
out of his head.
エクボ、一人で行かせてやれ。
つぼみちゃん、
それを見るのは
お前これからどうすんだ。
少なってないか。
あ、戻ってきたぞ。
いなかったか。
そりゃそうだよな。
No. He's coming back to say something.
振られた。
何？
ちゃんと
まだ異性として見たことがないって。
Look at him crying.
そうか。待ってただけマシじゃねえか。これからだよ。これから。お待ちなんとか直さねえとな。だってくれるだろう。ああ、ほら。前にお前んち直してくれたやつ。いいだろう。俺は芹沢呼ぶからさ。また年末開けといてくれ。
私も行くからよろしくね。
開きますかね。
It's been a whole year.
間違いない。来るよ。
Oh!
Look, Mob's in the front of the line!
And the one that had tried to stop him the most is in charge now of the club.
去年はすぐ貧血になって、みんなもきつい時は助け合ってね。
So cute.
兄様と副部長。
Vice
So
Captain!
impressive.
なかなか見込みのある金額。
かなり大変だから遠慮しとくよ。
He's gonna use his powers.
No, he doesn't need to use his powers. Yeah.
Oh, so cute. Because he wanted his psychic self to accept this mob that we've known.
よかった。
テルさん、久しぶり。
Whoa!
行くところ。
この間、揚げ物の新作も出たみたいだから。
Hell yeah.
いいね。
またあの T シャツを。今度こそ。
3人ともよく来てくれたね。
That makes sense.
彼女さんとは
振られたんだから。
たまに電話してるみたいだ。
Oh!
いつ？
Look at Ritsu just like listening in. No respect for privacy.
来ました。よー、水沢。
This is the part party.
Another, look at the hair development this episode.
久しぶりだな。もうすぐ来ちゃいます。オッケー。じゃあみんな隠れて。
Is it his birthday?
Oh my god, if it's his birthday.
疲れた。
お前がやってんのいつもそんなんだけどな。
おーい、芹沢。とめちゃん。
おめでとうございます。レーゲン師匠。
あれお前目赤くね？
時給上げて。
やべえ。
He takes a picture.
お前やったな。
なんだ残念。そうだっけ？
お前ら手伝ってもらうからな。
Okay, that was Mob Psycho, Season 3, Episode 12. Anna, what'd you
Yes.
think?
I feel like I don't know if this is relatable at all, but I almost feel like I just want to collapse into bed right now.
Yeah.
There's something I just want to like collapse and just kind of I feel the same way that I talked about at the very before this episode really even started. This like wistful sadness, like you're crying for this so many like complex and none of them super serious or horrible reasons. Like this sadness that it's over, this sadness of some of the themes and relatability of some of the themes, and then this happiness by how beautiful it is, and it's just such a kind of peaceful type of internal feeling that makes me just want to collapse onto my bed and maybe have like a few seconds of like breathing and to myself.
Yeah. I feel that. I think probably in the next coming weeks, like on my own time, I'm probably gonna watch episode 1, season 1 to season 3, episode 12, just like through it. And not like I have a crazy amount of free time anyways, but I just mean like an episode like while I'm falling asleep or something.
I really want to watch it in the dub, so I'll probably do that.
This show has a way of making you think that you don't know what's best for the story and that you're dumb for trying to put plot points forward in your mind to guess what's going to happen or guess what would make an actual good ending for Mob Psycho.
It's kind of like just sit down and enjoy. Like
Enjoy what it is.
Don't be thinking so much about what should happen or what shouldn't happen. What would a character do? Just like be along for the ride. Be in the present.
Yeah.
Which is I think a theme that you could maybe tie to Mob's character and some of the things that he has to do is I think that it's very difficult to live in the present.
Yeah.
I'm oftentimes have an inability to relax myself at all.
I think, at least for my benefit, it would do good to talk about this episode in chronological order.
Of course.
I really, really like Tsubomi's character. At first we got her contemplating on like if she should wait or not, and then she has genuine care and concern for Mob.
She never had to like him romantically.
It
For Mob to be happy, she never had to like him back romantically.
That would have felt fucking weird, wouldn't it have?
Right, like Mob is an understanding and loving character, and he's super supportive, and just being shown that you're trying or that you care about him too. I think we even maybe said at the end of last episode or the episode before that we thought he could handle rejection.
Yeah.
I thought he could handle rejection because especially if Tsubomi ended up being the way that she actually is, where she respected him enough and cared about him enough that she was worried about that shaky voice. She probably knew exactly what was going to happen, but she cared for him enough that not only was she going to make sure that she was able to respond to his feelings.
In the middle of like a category 30 like, tornado. Like,
she stays even though she sees what's happening. I honestly I'm not sure whether or not she has any idea that it's caused by Mob or not. Who knows? I don't think that was what was important. What was important was that she was like
willing to wait
for him so that she could give an answer to his face.
In a very interesting way, Mob has become for himself what he liked Tsubomi for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the one thing that needed to happen at the end of the show. I think that if it was Tsubomi, if there was a yes and everything was good, right? That hole was filled by a character who we've gotten very little of in the past 3 seasons. I think it might have undermined the intent of where we're supposed to end with Mob as a character. And I think it would have perhaps cheapened the journey that he's had to go through to get here.
Mm-hmm. I think when Mob asks himself, what do you even like about Tsubomi? And it's a question that has been asked to Mob before.
Mm-hmm.
And even Ritsu's wondered the answer. Everyone's wondered the answer. And we find out in this episode, Tsubomi, yes, was one of the first people that accepted Mob and showed him a treatment that he desired. And then we see later on in the episode, I think it's proven to us that really, honestly, there is a great deal of people who do that exact thing that Mob holds Tsubomi on a high regard for.
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode, we see all of those people come together. And Mob realizes the true person that matters, a person that matters that isn't accepting him, is himself. All the other people that matter to him accept him.
If there's 2 entities, Ben 1 and Ben 2.
Not Ben 10?
No. That would be a lot. But if there are 2 of them that are existing in the moment presently, and both of them have an adoration and a crush on a person years ago, right? And then Ben 1 is completely silenced and buried. Then Ben 2 will still have the same feelings for that person, but if they didn't have the reason for those feelings in the first place, those feelings will of course never go away because there's never going to be any conclusion to them. If Mob can realize what the reason was for liking and appreciating Tsubomi to begin with, then he can reevaluate as an older individual and more independent individual if those feelings should warrant a crush, should they warrant a friend, he's able to reevaluate the situation and not blindly able to have a crush for somebody for no reason. And I think it's brilliant. And
when he looks upon that, he would definitely see, like, does this warrant a tantrum of emotions upon a rejection? No.
But the emotions should still happen.
But they should still happen.
Real.
They're still, and I think the important thing is, so we have Mob, she's validating him by waiting for him and responding to his feelings. Because she's showing just kindness and care to even be there, and she bows to him. She doesn't say anything mean. She doesn't reject him coldly. She says that she's just never seen him that way or hasn't been able to see him that way. And that is fully fair, and she should not be made into a bad person for feeling that way, and he knows that. Like, she's entitled to her own feelings and emotions. And now he needs to validate himself, and he needs to let himself feel these emotions. And when he cried upon walking away from her, I was so, like, it was a weird feeling of, like, wait, have I never seen this before?
Yeah.
And then I knew that I really hadn't, but it didn't feel odd to see Mob cry. It felt, in a way, it felt exciting, but I also was like, oh my
Book of
god,
Bardic.
wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, am I seeing this? Wait, have I ever seen this? No, I haven't. That's the whole, that's the whole point, is that he's...
I like how I'm like, yeah, let's talk about this chronologically, and we just jumped to the end
I'm
of the
so
episode.
sorry.
No, I did it too. Because it's exciting. It's hard not to jump there when it's the same storyline. But again, I do think for the benefit of it, we should go to the next point, and that being Regan Arataka. The animation was absolutely incredible. The reasoning for him being able to even continue to try to tell him this one thing, being that he was secretly training and like trying to body improvement himself. We saw him running with Mob when Mob had to do the, marathon, and it was amazing. And the motive was true. And I think that it needed, if the motive didn't happen, in my heart, I'd feel like there was something odd there, even though that I think Mob already knew to some degree of what, reality is. But
Yes.
Above all else, thank you so much, whoever directed this episode, for including the first intro song while Regan was running. I think that it's such a trope, but there are so many animes or stories that don't use that trope when it would imply and convey such emotional significance to a scene that makes you feel like just so much appreciation for the journey to get here, and the 100% Regan, the real Regan, telling the truth to Mob. I loved it.
I also really, really loved the introduction of that song there, and getting all those clips of all of the times that Regan has shown support or care for Mob, whether it's just a hand on the shoulder, whether it's running up next to him to kind of cheer him on, because Regan knew he wanted to do this. Oh, you just pulled up a shot that I adored, and I would get framed.
Yeah,
I
me
would
too.
get this framed.
I would too.
I'm gonna wave at the camera so that whoever's editing this can put this shot up.
Yeah, it is.
It's this watercolor, colorful amazingness that doesn't fit with really any of the other visuals we got this episode or have gotten. I mean, it reminds me somewhat of like some outros we've had with this kind of this really artsy look to it. I adore it. And then the eyes are like,
it's awesome.
So good.
One thing that it needs to be talked about. Not gonna say that we're gonna be able to handle it in the most coherent way, but Dimple came back.
Yes. Dimple came back. I think we had said that we didn't want him to come back. I think we had said that.
I believe, and I could totally be wrong, that I said that in the moment, it's very hard for me to imagine Dimple coming back and it feeling okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
think that's around
not feeling like they're robbing us of something.
Yes. To make it feel good that he came back.
But I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And even though that we just finished watching the episode and we probably aren't going to have the most well thought out feelings about it, I'll start.
Okay.
I immediately was hit once realizing that it was Dimple with like the memory of me not wanting, like me saying that I was scared that he was going to come back. And then immediately after that, I'm like, okay, you're in your own head and like thinking about yourself too much. You try to appreciate what they're trying to do and think about what they're trying to do. I think in when I vocalized the fear of bringing Dimple back, I compared it to something that also I thought people responded fairly to, but controversially to, that being Mob's parents and Ritsu's death, and more importantly, lack thereof, and how that felt. I think that they could have kept Dimple killed. I understand why he came into this, because it was the only way that Regan was able to catch up and stand his ground there to be able to say what he said. Mm-hmm. But I think they could have kept him killed, but if I'm thinking about it and trying to really appreciate and understand the story for what it is and what it always has been, it makes a lot of sense and feels very right that it happened this way. What do you think?
So I definitely think that this is one of those matters that I don't think I could, if say it was a topic for a research paper or a paragraph on a test, I don't think I could articulate myself or critically think about why it's good or why I would have not liked it.
Samesies.
I think I definitely had the same thing you did, where as soon as it happened, I just thought immediately back to my mindset when Dimple went away, where I was like, that was a really nice exit. I don't know how I'd feel about him being brought back, because I, at the time, couldn't think of a way that I would find believable, satisfying, not like, oh, like not like cheap. Oh, you're gonna bring him back after we had such like an emotional moment, you know? But I'd also had to kind of, and I've already said this within the discussion, live in the present of just enjoying the show and not see it through such like a critical lens, because it's like I was trying to find a problem instead of like actually having a problem, which I shouldn't try to find a problem. If I am okay with something and it feels okay, then it feels okay, and that's great and valid. I shouldn't be like trying to be super critical, especially in the moment when I'm not mad at it. Like, I love Dimple. I would want Dimple to be back. And so if I feel like if someone was like, you need to write down exactly why this was an okay and a good decision to bring Dimple back, I don't think I could like have any points, and I don't think I'd really have any points for, you know, the argument against. I think it's just very...
I think it'd take a lot of thinking and time to like really come up with like a solid critique, because I don't want
like,
to and don't feel it.
Why would I do that? You know, like, I love to critique certain shows because I feel like they are supposed to be, and it's kind of something that's they lend well with like, ooh, why was this choice? What choice would it, you know, theorize? Like, that is a fun part of my brain that I go to. And I feel like this show has wanted me to just live like right in like front seat, you know, eyes glued to the screen, feel. It's wanted me to live really like really outside of my head.
Yeah.
I think I'll say. Like, just feel freely with my emotions, be outside of my head. And honestly, it's like the show wants me to feel how Mob needs to start feeling, which he ends up doing at the end of the episode.
I think if you sat me down and told me to write a critical piece of why I thought bringing Dimple back was a bad idea, it would take me a long time. I think eventually I could get it done. I can't say that I'd stand behind it being like how I actually feel, because if I'm honest, what's coming to me very easily is all the reasons why I like it, and it's a good thing. And mainly because I have always felt very connected to Mob, and regardless of this episode and them bringing Dimple back, I always will have felt and will continue to feel the end of how I felt when Dimple sacrificed himself for Mob and Mob was crying himself to sleep. And at the end of this episode, when Mob was happy and smiling, I can tell you for fucking sure I wasn't thinking about Dimple or anything. I was happy that he was there, and I was happy that everybody was happy, and I was happy. Like, there's not much more than that, because this show, this silly little anime show with jokes and weird art styles and like dialogue, and you know,
Tsubomi's friends all have vegetables for heads in Mob's point of view.
That is why I love the show, and the reason why I love the show is the same reason that the show and story brought him back. And I think whether it was the most on point takes that we had, I just think it should be talked about out loud, you know, because it was something that we thought. I also would love to talk about just Reagan, some of his, like, two of his lines that were just very short was just, accept yourself. But the thing that really stuck with me was when he was saying that everyone has a different side.
I wrote that down too.
And, like, you're not, like, it was after the acknowledgement of everything that was a lie. It was after Reagan's confession. And then he reiterated that his points, right? He said, I don't know anything. This is the real me. But let me just say one thing. Like, everyone has that side of them. It doesn't make you special. Like, okay. I am very bad with my words, as we understand, and I've said.
And being emotional does not help with articulation.
But when I tell, like, when I'm even talking about myself to you privately, I often use the terms like, it's not about me. It's not like this doesn't make you like it's not a positive thing. You know, the whole idea that this show has drilled into us is about how individuals who are lucky enough to have psychic powers use them in ways because it makes them feel special, different, or better than somebody. Mm-hmm. This is the culmination of all things that we know is bad within Mob because of it's juxtaposed next to the destruction of the entire city. Mm-hmm. But still, Reagan is able to say this negativity, this other side to you that is literally the worst thing you could possibly imagine. It doesn't make you different. It doesn't make you special. Everybody has that different side to them, and you're just another person, and you have to deal with it.
If you think about where all of the other psychics are right now, other than Mob, they're all living normal lives now. I mean, or paying for what they have done, like Suzuki. But all of the other psychics, through meeting Mob and through whatever happened from their interactions with Mob, have realized that they just want to live as people. And, you know, cool, they have psychic abilities. That's just something. That's just that's one of their other traits. But it's not something that, like, makes up their entire life, their entire personality, their entire existence, all of their interests. You know, all of them are living normal lives. Teru, I think, out of all of the characters, has been the one to articulate to us kind of what that experience was like from meeting Mob. That he realizes he's not the main character. It's not all about him. Like, he was living in a way that he felt was fulfilling, but then after meeting Mob, realized it wasn't. And,
like, you're in your head. You're in your head too much. Is like you're in the reality of the situation. It's not. It's much more simple. Mm-hmm. You know, I love the acceptance of Mob with, like, towards himself. God, I loved it.
I feel like everyone realized through Mob that they thought they were so cool. See, like, Mob thought his psychic powers, obviously, he was in the train of, oh, this is bad, where all the other characters like, I'm so cool. And I think they realized that they were, because of that, lacking in terms of actual relationships.
Yeah.
And people actually caring for them, which is exactly what Mob had when he was suppressing himself. He was developing interpersonal relationships. Even if he wasn't accepting himself, he was finding people that were accepting him, that wanted him around. Where I feel like Teru didn't get real, actual relationships until he was able to put aside, you know, oh, I'm not the most amazing person ever and the coolest person ever.
Yeah. I love the idea that this organization that was Claw, that had a goal of, like, taking over the world, or at least ruling it, and, like, it affecting all of these other people, was made up of people who were, each and every one of them, 100% only thinking about themselves. Mm-hmm. And how they could benefit from it. Anywhere from the worst of the worst to, who was the one dude? Who was the leader in season 1? Obviously not Suzuki. The guy with the gas mask, who I thought was Tsubome.
The older guy.
Yeah,
we
but
were like, is that Tsubome?
Everybody was very self-absorbed and caught up in their own world and how great they are. And that put up next to Reigen Arataka, who has a main career of something that you could say is very pompous and overly cocky, and you're tricking people, but time and time again he shows that he tries to care for people and save people in their own right. You can make the argument that what he does is scammy and stuff, but he never sends somebody home without making them feel like they've been serviced. And I think that's what matters. This one character, Reigen, he has changed so many people with that mindset, because even him, just another normal person, like he has the power to do all of that. I love it.
He said that he despised the other side of himself.
But the other side of himself was what cultivated this relationship in the first place.
It's I think it's really great to show that. I feel like something that is very, very relatable in this show is if you put yourself in Mob's shoes, it's very easy to feel like you're the only one that might feel these things. And then for Reigen to be like, I despise that other side of me too. We all have another side. It's like, I feel like when I was younger, I didn't believe that. I think I related maybe to like a Teru kind of Mob. Somewhere in there is a mix of when you're younger, it's harder to realize, since you're having your experience within your own body, you feel kind of like you're the main character because you're living your life and everyone else is just like a part of it. And it's easy to feel that way. And I just really love, it's just, I don't even know what I was saying with that, but it's just very, very relatable.
I'm very thankful for the show. I like where they all ended up. I'm glad that the Mob's the vice captain. You know.
Me too.
Shigeo, rather.
And he was just running at the front there. He's had so much like I feel like honestly, once he was able to kind of free himself of these self-imposed shackles, he is now able to be freer in all areas. I mean, the mental load that he was doing on himself emotionally, with how much he was suppressing himself and beating himself up basically internally, and now once he's freer, he's excelling in all rights. He's a good friend. He's able to laugh with his friends. He's running in his club. He's being almost a mentor to these new members of the Body Improvement Club.
Yeah. Who do you think used their psychic powers at the end? I think can I tell you what I think?
Yeah.
Because I'm totally open to being wrong, but this is my initial take. My instinct was that, of course, it was Mob, but it was so cool that the one thing that differentiates every psychic person in the show is what their aura looks like, and there was none, because it's not about that anymore. It's not about that. Mob used them, but it wasn't about the psychic powers anymore, and there was no aura to be seen because of it. What do you think?
I didn't even know if it was anyone necessarily at all.
Yeah.
But I also think it's very telling in any way to point out is that Mob is the first one to start laughing.
It did look like psychic powers, right? It didn't look like it fell.
He's pushed. It's falling.
About to fall on.
It's falling. It's flipping, and then it stops. And it stops in the air, and I
see this shot makes it look like it's on the ground, but
okay, yeah, I see the shadow. He's still in the air. Underneath him is the shadow. And
then if you look at the bottom of the screen here, you know.
I don't know, because part of me's like, if it was Mob, wouldn't a Mob type thought be, oh no, I don't want to ruin Reigen's birthday cake, like we're all celebrating with him. But I also couldn't see any other characters feel so like comfortable.
Hey, who just did
maybe
that?
Teru.
Maybe it just doesn't fucking matter.
That's what it is. It doesn't matter. They're all there. It's all funny. Yeah. It's all like, maybe it was Dimple. Honestly, could have been Dimple.
Two scenes of Mob's expressions this episode that makes me want to cry is, one, him crying, and it's not because of sadness. It was one of the most well-animated pieces of animation I've ever seen in my life for something so subtle, and the other makes me want to cry out of sadness and happiness, and that was Mob laughing.
It was a really nice way to end the show on a still of Mob laughing.
Yeah.
It was a very nice way to end it.
Tara got a new haircut. It wasn't a wig this time, seemingly. That's great.
It looked good.
I don't know what else to say. If I'm honest, the quicker I say something is the quicker we're not going to watch another episode.
It's like you don't want it to end, especially if this is the... I mean, honestly, by that ending, this has to be the last episode, in my opinion. We got Confession and then The Future, I think was the title. So that's basically being like, let's check in with him now, see how he's doing. And I'm like, can we just have a series where we check in on him now? Like, can we just have 12 episodes of checking in on him? I need to know he's okay.
He is.
How does he handle high school? What club does he join?
I don't know. But probably body improvement again. It's just his body's just going to keep improving.
Do Tsubomi and him, like, hang out? You know, they're having phone calls now sometimes.
Dude.
So, like, do they start calling each other every day?
If I'm honest, I just feel, like, fulfilled in that department. Like, I feel like... You know what? I feel like it doesn't matter because I think that no matter what happens to Mob as a character, he'll be able to handle it. Mm-hmm. And he'll be okay. Mm-hmm. Will I be okay? That's another story. That's all I have. You?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching Mob Psycho with us. Period. If there's anything else that ever brings us together, thank you for that. But as far as this show goes, I am so happy that we got to watch it on the channel.
Me too.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.